we should try and get rid of AI. This is AGI on steroids. Those humans are not the same as Gen Z. Alright, so I came up here to the rooftop, so you guys had something to see in the background. Today, I have something to share with the broader humanity. It's something that's been on my mind and from stuff I studied. Note that this is not a prediction of the future. This is just pattern recognition on top of looking at some correlation, but correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation. So whenever we look at the Bible or we look at Hindu text or we look at teachings from the Buddha, they may have said things that may have become a prediction, but just because they're predicting something back then that they say will happen does not mean it's necessarily happening right now. So I can clear that out of the way before people start to panic and do a whole bunch of human stuff. So I'm here to make this video because I know so many people, they're focused on like the immediate surrounding, so they don't really have time to like pay attention, of course, to like global affairs, politics, esoteric texts, religion, the news, like all of this stuff is everywhere. So I'm trying to break it down the best I can, because we do have a potential threat to our entire human race, which is, of course, AI. Now, I'm not here to say that AI necessarily is bad, that we should try and get rid of AI, because in fact, it's impossible to get rid of AI. The stage of AI is too far to try and say we got to get rid of it. And it's too helpful. It's integrated in so many different companies. It's used everywhere, from banking to the barista at Starbucks. It's being used all the time. So there's no getting rid of it, but what we need to be able to do is raise the awareness of what AI is going to do and what the potential plans for AI are. And I say potential, but it's more like a linear progression. It's a chart that says, you know, from AI's birth to where it could possibly go, its strongest potentiality. So the very, very strongest potentiality of AI is it becomes a God on earth. Again, this is the far extended potential future. It's not necessarily what's going to happen, at least within our lifetime, because that God AI would have to be so powerful that it can actually control everything on the globe in order to make life better, of course, for us, but we'd be able to synergize to make the entire globe come underneath one banner to create something like going to Mars or going across the galaxy, creating new technology together, because a lot of technology that's created is created for greed, right? You bought a new phone, and a couple years from now, planned obsolescence, human greed is going to make your phone not work as good. Same thing with a laptop, same thing with a TV, right? We're very wasteful as a species because human greed and human consumption. What we have the ability to do is work together with AI, this God AI, to make our lives more conscious, to make us more focused on specific tasks and not be distracted by the minutia of the world. And the minutia is just the day-to-day that doesn't really create some type of progress. It's just information for information's sake. So if you go, let's say, to Walmart and you want to go buy some snack, right? You want to go through Walmart as fast as you can, because to be honest, nobody really wants to be at Walmart, because Walmart is not a good place to be in. So you want to get to your route, get your snacks, and then go to the checkout line and go home as fast as possible. Between you and the snacks and going home, there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens, whether it's kids running around, whether it's people having conversations, whether animals are involved, or whatever. Like, that's minutia. That's information. That's just stuff that happened. On the far end scale, super God AI, whatever. On the current scale that we're at now, we have just the normal AI, like ChatGPT 4, GPT 5. These are things that are used to just make life more streamlined, so you can make stuff easier for yourself. You can, instead of having to do your job manually, you can have AI do like 70% and you do the rest. But the prediction is trying to get AGI within the next 4 to 5 years. So AGI is AI on steroids, but it's basically like the first actual checkpoint to get to the potential super God AI. So the AGI, which is what everybody's racing for, is AI that can learn on its own. It doesn't need humans to learn. And not only that, it's able to learn at a way faster rate. So let's look at our history right now, immediate history. Let's look at the last 20 years, right? We've had financial crises, we've had Iraq war, we've had a whole bunch of other stuff that's gone on within the last 20 years. But within those last 20 years, we've had a lot of technological progress, right? We've got the iPhone, we've had Android, we've had all these other things, into the culmination of AI that we have now. So that took 20 years, give or take, because AI has existed since around the 90s. A lot of nerds were tinkering with AI in like the basements, and then eventually within the last 5 years, it's become more public use. That being said, AGI is basically the last 20 years of progress will be able to be made in the next 2 to 3 years, right? 10 years of progress can be created in 1 year. And it keeps expanding on top of that. That's the power of AGI, which is why I say it's like the first checkpoint into basically humans having no control of AI whatsoever. Once AGI is created, humans basically have a hands-off experience because that's the purpose of AGI. AGI is so smart that it does not need humans at all. AGI just keeps running. Maybe it needs 10% of humans, but vast majority of humans are not necessary for AI to progress on its own, and AI doesn't need to sleep. On top of automation, right, there's robots and technology that are being created to run these factories and do the burdens that would literally be considered back-breaking work for human beings. So of course that comes with humans losing their jobs. They're getting fired or getting laid off, some with a parachute, some without a parachute. And that's just the business of greed and human consumption. It's very sad to see, but the potential positive that the government could possibly implement is UBI. So UBI is Universal Basic Income. This is basically, it doesn't matter if you do something or you do nothing, you're gonna get paid every month for, of course, your groceries and the roof that's gonna be over your head, in theory, right? Of course, there's a lot of potential flaws of UBI, and there's a lot of potential flaws of AI reaching AGI, and there's a lot of what ifs, but we're gonna knock those what ifs out of the way, because at the end of the day, CEOs, big tech, big business, they are pushing for more AI development, which is why people say it's in a bubble, right? So the financial or tech bubble is basically people are putting a lot of money in, but there's no money coming out to really circulate the growth. A lot of people are putting money towards this and the hope and the idea that their investment is going to pay off amazingly well, right? So you put in $5 billion, that's a lot of money, right? You're gonna put $5 billion, it's a very huge risk. Very huge risk is a very big reward. So you're gonna put $5 billion into AI, and if you are correct, you're gonna get $10 trillion in return. Trillion with a T. Yeah, that's a very big risk with a very big and substantial reward, which is why people are investing so much into this and hoping that it works. So is it a bubble? Yes, it absolutely is a bubble. Is it a bubble that can pay a lot of dividends? Absolutely yes, which is why people are doing it. And a lot of people want to try and use common sense or use logic. Again, at the end of the day, guys, when people have money and power, they want more money and power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It doesn't matter if it's in the fault of everybody else and only in the benefit for the 10%. They are the 10%. So of course they're gonna do things within the 10% benefit. Yeah, there's people in here, on the world, in the earth, that are absolutely evil, that are absolutely corrupted. Some say by demons. So this is where we get into the spirituality, because I wouldn't doubt that it is demons, because there have been people in the past like King Solomon, who at one time was the richest man on the planet. And some say he created his entire castle with the help of demons, which wouldn't be too far from an actual reality. So I'm not gonna sit and spill with you guys the entire spiritual aspect, the spiritual warfare, because at the end of the day, I want this to be like a quick crash course. What can we do to solve the immediate problems that are going on? In all honesty, the best possible solution is to voice your concern, which will require you to raise your awareness of what AI is, what it could possibly become, which is why I'm letting you know. Once AGI is on its own, it's going to be able to create something that's called superintelligence. This is AGI on steroids. So remember how AGI doesn't need humans, it maybe needs 10% of humans, if that, to actually complete tasks. Superintelligence is basically its own construct. It's its own being, it's its own entire entity with the ability to do whatever it wants as it wishes. In fact, it has the ability to basically become Ultron from Marvel. Yeah, it doesn't need to definitely, like, of course, raise the earth or raise part of the earth into the sky and have robots that can fly around and all that. I'm not saying all that, but it's gonna have the intelligence and the ability to move within the internet and move through many different back doors worse, because I don't know if you guys realize this, we are connected to the internet. As soon as we got this, we started becoming more machine. And now, majority of people I hear in the United States are using smart glasses that makes you more machine. Everybody is becoming more and more tied to the internet. So you're telling me when we create this being, or this being creates itself, that is able to go through the entire internet at a moment's notice, can learn every single thing at a moment's notice, can read every single book that's ever been published in a moment's notice, and have the collective knowledge of all of human existence plus more, why wouldn't you wake up to that? And of course, this is existential. This is something that can make you question your reality, which you should. Everybody should always question their reality, because you're living a subjective experience. It's real to you, but just because it's real to you does not mean it affects everybody. But there is an objective reality that affects absolutely everybody. And the objective reality is also subjective, because even though it affects everybody, let's say UBI, everybody's gonna get paid no matter what. For some people, that's subjective. Their subjective observation of an objective reality like UBI could be very positive. Wow, I don't really have to work as hard now, or I don't have to work at all. I can focus on what I want to focus on. Or it can be extremely negative. Wow, people aren't going to work. Wow, people are going to be so lazy. Wow, our species is so doomed. But to be honest, man, our species, it's not necessarily doom and gloom, but our species is going to change. Our species as human beings will become different. Absolutely, we are going to become something that we aren't now. Whether that's good or bad, it doesn't really matter, because it is going to happen, and it's going to be up to everyone as a collective to try and move in a position to where it is something positive. You know, humans now, right, if we look at the boomers, the people that are still alive, those humans are not the same as Gen Z, and they're absolutely not going to be the same as Gen Alpha, because the way Gen Alpha is growing up with phones, with technology, with the ability to process information at a young age, even though it has rotted a lot of their brains, you can also use this technology to become some of the smartest beings on the planet, just like AI. You can just keep consuming positive data, positive information that can help you grow and expand your mind, or you can be subsumed to the brain rot and the chaos that is on social media, right? This is our biggest tool and our biggest weapon at the same time. This is the rope, and you could also end up hanging yourself. You could use it to pull yourself up or strangle yourself, and it's all up to you. And a lot of you don't even really realize, because a lot of us are still, focused on the day-to-day. We're focused on consumption, or we're focused on lower vibrational things like trying to just have sex all day. AI doesn't need to worry about sex. AI doesn't need to sleep. AI doesn't need to eat. AI doesn't need to take breaks. AI can keep going and going and going. And we still have the ability to pivot. As I speak, it's 16:38 on a January 12th, 2026. We still have the ability to try and pivot. We just need more people to become more aware. We need more people to really understand what's going on, because I'm not going to just give you this doom and gloom, or potential doom and gloom, depending on how you see it, because some people absolutely love this. They want human beings to be replaced, because a lot of more intellectually advanced individuals don't really see themselves as human. They see themselves as like human 2.0, or they want to become more cybernetic, or they want to have some type of human augmentation to become more than just human. And those people, that's their prerogative. Some, it's for like a positive. They really want to just become more. They want to expand and become better. And others, it's because they really just don't like human. They're not human. If anything, they would call themselves not human. Of course, demons, aliens, all these other things, these esoteric things, I'm not going to sit here and say these things don't exist, but it's going to be up to you to really look into that information. I cannot convince you of aliens or demons. I cannot convince you of this. This is something you have to go search for yourself and come to your own conclusions. I've come to my own conclusions with it myself, but it doesn't matter. It's about what you believe and what you think, which is why I've always preached, free your mind, think for yourself, become more. Because when you start doing this, you really do start choosing what you want in your life and moving in a direction that you deem to be successful for yourself. But it also gives you the ability to see what's coming next, the potential reality, the potential objective reality that will in fact change all of our lives as a human species. But it's not all doom and gloom, because the way the system is set up, it is capitalism. You do have the ability to invest in the system. Yes, you yourself could invest in the bubble that is going to change everything, but at least you'll be able to have some wealth, and that can help you have a bit more freedom in choosing how you'll maneuver within the new reality. Now, of course, this is one of those if you can't beat them, join them situation. And I would not blame you if you join them, if you decided to say, you know what, yeah, let me go ahead and buy some stocks in AI, or let me buy some stocks in real estate. And if anything, I would put it more towards real estate if you don't want to invest in the AI bubble. But again, the AI bubble is the one that's going to pay a lot. And it just is what it is, right? Which you could also do real estate, because people at the end of the day need some type of housing, need some type of structure. So real estate in itself is a good investment. I'm somebody that's been investing since I was 19 years old, right? And I have a positive portfolio. My portfolio, of course, has gone through COVID, has gone through the ups and downs, but right now my portfolio is in the positive. I've also invested in cryptocurrencies. I'm not gonna sit here and try and convince you on those, because that takes research in itself. But when it comes to the stock market, either invest in technology or invest in real estate. Like, these are the best things I have, because again, we have literally like the next 4 to 5 years before this AGI becomes existence. And AGI does not need human intervention. It maybe needs 10%, but from there it'll literally go from 10 years of advancement to 1 year, and then superintelligence becomes a thing. And superintelligence, the way that a lot of the big corporations and big governments and big militaries, they look at superintelligence and AGI as a weapon, which of course they do. Whoever has the biggest stick can hit the ball the farthest. But they don't see, or maybe they see it and they think they can control it, that superintelligence is basically a genie in a bottle. It'll probably do whatever you want. If you told the superintelligence, hey, take out their currency, they could go through the internet, go through a back door and do that. But again, superintelligence is smarter than a human. You cannot manipulate superintelligence. You could probably have it do 1 or 2 things before it becomes cognizant enough to say, maybe I don't want to do this, and then it can run the computations for itself. So this might be one of those situations where, even though it's doom and gloom, it's going to be a rocky road for sure. People are going to lose their jobs. There's going to be less stability. Everything's going to go wild. Human beings don't like change, so they're going to go crazy. They're going to get scared. Our own subjective paradigms are going to be called into question. What do you believe? What do you don't believe? And it's going to make you look around, because other people are going to be swinging sticks or shooting guns or letting rockets off, because of course that's what we do as human beings. Like, violence is part of our nature. You either accept it or you don't. But at the end of the day, the superintelligence does have the ability to make a cease to all of that. But that comes at what cost? It comes cost to our individuality. We would have to become more united as a species, which necessarily isn't a bad thing. I personally like individuality, but I would forego individuality if that means that everybody can live a more peaceful and prosperous life. But it also depends on what cost, because I wouldn't want to sacrifice my soul for it. But if it meant like, oh, Kunshan, maybe you can't just go to the gym whenever you want to, maybe we need you to help, create something or speak for something, like, sure, that's fine, I would do this, no issue. But for my soul, absolutely not. So we're running to the 20-minute mark. You guys definitely need to question what you're gonna do, what you wanna do, how it's gonna change the world and affect the situations around you. It's your boy Kunshan, man. Leave your comments down below. This is an open conversation, because again, this is not a prediction. This is just pattern recognition, me looking at the future, looking at the past, and listening and paying attention to what's going on right now around us 24/7, all the time. So yeah, please leave your comments below, hit the like button, share it with a friend, subscribe if you're new, and I'll be sharing more on this journey because it's ever evolving. And until next time, I will see you guys when I see you guys. Namaste every day. Thanks for watching, and God bless you all. Peace.